Over 43,000 meals will be served at Camp Cedar Cliff this summer. That's over 56,000 pounds of food in just 8 weeks. The only problem is camp has completely outgrown the ability to store that kind of food. Today we're going to camp to find out more about the problem and what they're doing to fix it.
Why don't you just go ahead and introduce yourself? Who are you?
My name is Tim Brady. I am the director and CEO of Camp Cedar Cliff.
Where are we?
Asheville, North Carolina, right in the city. We are the only traditional outdoor wilderness summer camp, 300 acres with an Asheville address. We were started by Billy Graham back in the 1980s. We still hold today the values of training young people in God's Word and sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ with every single camper that comes on this property, and helping them grow in their relationship with the Lord. More specifically, we are on Camp Cedar Cliff's 300 acres, about halfway up from the creek to the peak. That's 1,250 feet in elevation, the exact same height of the Empire State Building as Camp Cedar Cliff. And we're right here in the offices. This is the brain of Camp Cedar Cliff, the nerve center. Nothing happens, no decisions are made, no program is formulated without it passing through these four walls of Camp Cedar Cliff's office. As a camp director, it's a weird position because every day changes. Tomorrow, it'll probably be a grounds challenge. A windstorm comes through and we lose 30 trees in 2 hours, and we've got to know how to take care of that. It could be a facility problem with electrical, and it's always a new challenge here at Camp Cedar Cliff with 300 acres, 28 buildings. It's like 114 sinks, 90 some showers, 70 some toilets. All of that right now on the property needs to have hands on it, eyes on it, making sure it's working properly. Some challenges last for several years, and we're chipping away at fixing these challenges. Some are just, it happens, a storm comes through and we fix the challenge immediately. This is a challenge that is one of those that really has been a part of Camp Cedar Cliff's history. That's because we have a dining hall that seats 250 people, but only has really the capability with its food storage to feed about 50. And we've been getting by every single year for years with a very minimum amount of cold storage and freezer storage. We cannot continue to feed 43,250 some meals to campers in a summer with reach-in coolers and reach-in refrigerators that are not much larger than what you have in your kitchen. You drove into camp, you know it's windy roads through the woods, and it's coming through the gate at the front and then making your way past the welcome pavilion. This is all in food deliveries happening a couple of times a week while we have programming going on. And it gets finally to the dining hall. I really just need to show you, really. So let's just go up there and I'll show you. So now we're going to what I would call behind the scenes of Camp Cedar Cliff. This isn't on the tour. Imagine, if you would, 20 different tables in here, each having their cabins at them, counselors at them. It's packed wall to wall with campers, and that's just on the inside. And then all the way outside under that pavilion, all that cover is full of campers too. Table, packed with campers and counselors, staff, just chipping away at camp, having a blast right here inside this building. When they come into the dining hall, the table is set. They have a seat at the table. Most of the food is on the table except for the really hot stuff, which is right back here in the kitchen. And that got here because it was delivered probably the day before on a truck that has to make its way into camp because we can't store food for the whole week. So that comes back here. They end up right here in the kitchen. All the food is prepped, cooked, prepared, fresh for the campers. And right now you can see right over in this corner is an example of the reach-ins that we've had. But now we have 2 refrigerators and a freezer inside the kitchen. We're replacing what used to be a whole wall of those with our walk-in freezer and refrigerator. We have a beautiful awning that's going to go over top of both of them, so they're going to survive for a long, long time. So we've got electrical to do, we've got freezers, refrigerator, the awning, the pad that had to be poured, and that is the challenge. We've attempted to start this project for several years, and it just wasn't the right timing. We had COVID issues, we had the recovery from that, we had to minimize our staff during COVID, and we've really been in a rebuild season the last couple of years. It's just the right time, and my experience is that when it's the right time, God tends to facilitate conversations and provide funding. He really has begun to do that. In fact, of the total project need, 70% of the funding has already been provided. That's why I'm stepping out by faith. For some of you to kind of get an idea of what this might look like, the coolers themselves, if you think about just the cooler in the freezer, the boxes, and all that comes with that to make that happen. This is $55K. So $55,000 is what the coolers cost. And then if I think about just the concrete that had to be poured, when it's all said and done, we believe we're going to be right around $12K. So that's for the pad to set the coolers on. The shelter that's going to go over the top of it, this is 19K. And man, am I grateful for the people who are helping us out with this. Blue Ridge Refrigeration is really helping me out on this price. I'm so grateful for Dean Construction that have just been phenomenal helping us get this done. It should have cost 3 times this. The shelter, this should have been about a $25,000 shelter, and I'm grateful for Blue Ridge Aluminum that's helping us out with this. And then also the electrical, this is going to be around $6,000. It's probably a little bit more than that actually. And then the final piece was the grading and all that it took to get the site prepped. So we're just shy of $100,000 for this project, and I'm sure we're gonna run into a couple of things, but man, we're fighting to keep it under $100,000. Here's the good news. So it's kind of rainy. It's really great timing because none of the canopy has grown. If you look close, it's all budding. It's getting close. And for me, that's building anticipation. You just see leaves coming on trees. I begin to move out of 10 to 2, what we call 10 for 2, 10 months of preparing for 2 months out of the year. And the 10 for 2 is about to end. And so we're looking at this kind of like a gloomy, rainy day, but I'm telling you, I can not only see it, campers everywhere, down here at the pool, playing volleyball, sitting up here, towels are laying everywhere. I can hear it, screaming kids, having a blast, laughing, sitting around with their counselors telling crazy stories. I can even smell it. The food's being prepared from the dining hall. You can smell, campers have been around camp for a little bit, and maybe there's that musty smell, the smell of like Chaco sandals that have been here for a few weeks. It's just like, I just can't describe it across the camera, but I can tell you, standing right here, it's getting close and it's getting very real. Very soon, this place is gonna come alive, just like the canopy in these trees, the grass on the ground. It's gonna come alive with campers. We already have 70K of that 100,000 that has come in. And so I'm on man, if this was NASCAR, I'd be in turn 4. We're finishing this thing off, and there's about a quarter of the race to go, and I'm pushing through. The timeline is that camp starts in 11 weeks. I need these things full of food in 11 weeks. So I've got about 4 or 5 weeks to finalize getting this project done so we can have it in motion and learning how to use this before all the campers show up. If you're interested in being a part of this, let me encourage you right away, help me close this gap.